There are more than 500,000 workers employed in laboratories in the U.S., including those in water utilities. What they all have in common is the potential exposure to chemical, biological, physical, and radioactive hazards. Lab safety is governed by numerous local, state, and federal regulations. But good safety procedures are primarily the responsibility of those of us working in these labs. We'll look at 4 major areas of lab safety: the handling and storage of chemicals, lab personal protective equipment, equipment used in water quality labs, and safe laboratory procedures. When it comes to chemicals, it's a good idea to treat every chemical you use as hazardous. Never inhale, ingest, or touch a chemical with your skin. Use required PPE and be sure to keep chemicals separate from each other until you are ready to perform a lab procedure. To understand the potential hazard of lab chemicals, look at the label. All chemicals should be clearly labeled with the name and hazards. The United States participates in the Global Harmonization System of Classifying and Labeling Chemicals process known as GHS. GHS labels must have a product identifier, a name, address, and telephone number of the chemical manufacturer or importer, a pictogram, signal word, a hazard statement, and a precautionary statement. The goal is to have the same set of rules for classifying hazards and the same format and content for labels and safety data sheets adopted and used around the world. For a more detailed look at how GHS is used in water utilities, review AWWA's Safety First Hazard Communications video. Safety data sheets, formerly known as MSDS, must be printed in English and be in each work area where the chemical is used. These documents are the primary source and provide the greatest detail about each chemical to workers. The SDS will verify the information on the chemical label, help you determine what personal protective equipment or PPE is needed, and tell you if symptoms you may be experiencing might be caused by the chemical. Safety data sheets have a heading with an SDS number, an effective date, and a product identifier, a name or number that matches the chemical's container label. A lab supervisor, safety manager, or chemical hygiene officer should be designated in every lab. He or she is responsible for making sure chemical information is available to water lab employees and that a chemical hygiene plan is in place that covers storage, creating and marking reagents, and disposal procedures. A reagent is a substance that takes part in or brings about a chemical reaction. Reagents should be clearly marked with concentrations, the date they were made, and the lab worker's name who made them. This information should also be recorded in a reagent log book. It's a good idea to have the lab supervisor take part in the labeling of these products. That way, information is shared with other lab technicians.